right. Hello, and thank you for joining me today. I know it's a very, very busy time of the year, but this is really important information for everyone to receive tonight about student teaching and the application process. My name is Dr. Paula Cristina Azevedo, and I'm an assistant professor here in the School of Education, and I'll be your guide tonight all about student teaching and the application process. So the Education Clinical Experience Office is a really important office here in the School of Education. You've already probably interacted with our ECE team here with your field experience placements. We also place you for your student teaching, and we coordinate with our partner schools and partner school divisions to make sure that you have the right placement. We ensure also that you are ready for licensure. So we help you prepare all of that paperwork, all of the certificates that you need in order to successfully apply through the VDOE. And we also help you sign off on your college verification form. Now, you don't need to worry about any of that quite yet. Let's take it one step at a time. You'll learn all about the licensure process towards the end of your student teaching experience. But of course, we are always happy to answer any questions about licensure if you have any that come up between now and student teaching. And finally, we also support mentor teachers in your field experience and student teaching, your university supervisors and faculty in coordinating all of the field experience and your final semester with student teaching. So we play a big role here. Now, student teaching is one of the pivotal points in your program of studies. This is where you finally get to go into the classroom and for a full semester experience what it's like to be a teacher. And you have not only an immersive experience, but one that is enriching, and you're held through the whole process with many people supporting you. And I'll talk about that in a minute. During student teaching, you're going to have lots of opportunity to practice what you've been learning about in your coursework the past few years. You'll have opportunities to reflect on your practice and become more aware of who you are as a teacher, as a practitioner in the classroom. You'll collaborate with your peers who are also student teaching, but also with your colleagues in the placement itself. You'll create and implement lesson plans and unit plans and all sorts of assessments. You'll engage with a ton of amazing students in the grade level that you'll be focused on during that semester. And these students range a great diversity. And finally, you'll develop and hone those skills and knowledge and practice that you've been learning about all this program. Now, finally, you're going to work with many people. We are all here to support you in this student teaching experience. First of all, you're going to be placed with a mentor teacher. This is someone who has many years of experience, are licensed in your grade level or subject area, and they're going to be there every single day guiding you through the practice of teaching. You'll also have a university supervisor. This is usually a faculty member here at Marymount University who will go and observe you 4 to 5 times throughout the semester and provide additional feedback to you. And then finally, you'll have your seminar instructor. And like I mentioned, your peers who are student teaching alongside with you. So all together, you'll have an enriching experience and many people to lean on whenever you have not only success that you want to share, but also any challenges that you may be having that you want to workshop with someone else who has lots of experience. Finally, I also want to mention that you'll have 2 major assignments while student teaching. You'll have the teacher work sample and your e-portfolio. Now, I'm not going to go too deeply into this because you don't have to worry about it quite yet. You'll learn way more about this when you go into student teaching. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that student teaching is really a jam-packed experience. So you're in the classroom from the moment your mentor teacher walks into that school building, maybe at 7:30 in the morning, and if they leave at 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that's how long you pretty much stay. You're contracted their contracted hours. So whatever that is, you will follow their hours. And then every week you will meet with your seminar instructor or your classroom management instructor and work through some of these assignments that you have. So this is a semester to take really, really seriously. This is a time for you to practice. And it's also a time for you to just focus in on student teaching. So I don't recommend you take any additional courses while student teaching besides classroom management, of course, or definitely not work full or part-time. If you want to have a successful student teaching experience, you want to make sure that you are fully dedicated to this experience. So as we know, teachers don't just show up to the classroom and do their work and go home and that's it. There are usually lots of lesson planning and grading that does occur sometimes outside of the school building, just because it's the nature of being a novice teacher. Do want to mention as well that we do have a really unique experience, and that is a global student teaching experience, where for 7 weeks, 7 out of the 14 weeks, you can spend your time student teaching in Barranquilla, Colombia. We have a very special partnership with Marymount Barranquilla, which is, a part of the Marymount network. So we all have the same, philosophy of education and beliefs. So it is a really beautiful partnership that we have with our colleagues there at Marymount Barranquilla. It is a bilingual PK through 12 school. So if you don't know any Spanish, that's totally fine. You'll fit in just perfectly because everyone there is bilingual, sometimes even trilingual. But you'll definitely pick up some Spanish words while there. This will count towards your student teaching, and we have already had a student go there last semester, and she absolutely loved it. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience to teach outside of the United States, experience a different culture, experience a different language, experience students in a new environment, and she highly recommends it. You can, of course, learn more about it by clicking on that link. It'll take you to a video that you may want to watch later to learn more about it. Now, of course, if you are interested in global student teaching, I'll have to know that a little bit earlier than usual, just so we can start that process, because there is, of course, lots of paperwork, travel paperwork to get set up before doing that. All right. Enough about that. Let's get into how do you actually apply. So you're ready to student teach and you want to make sure that you have all the paperwork that you need ready. And so here are some key points that you want to remember. And the first is the date. There are 2 important dates that you should know. If you are planning to student teach in the fall semester, so let's say it's fall 2024, the application is due this coming March 15th, okay? So just in about a month and a half. If you're planning to student teach a year from now, that's spring of 2025, you have a little bit more time to apply, and that application due date is September 15th of 2024, okay? Now, these dates are really important because you have to work backwards to figure out when you have to make sure you have all your tests and courseworks completed prior to applying, all right, or right about the time of applying. Now, if you are an on-site student teacher, meaning that you currently work at a school and plan to student teach at the school that you teach, then your application is due a little bit later because you already have your placement and I don't have to place you, all right? Now, you just make sure that you talk to someone in the ECE or your advisor to make sure that where you're working and the mentor teacher that you're going to have fits within the regulations that Virginia has. Virginia has very strict regulations and what grade levels and subject areas that you can teach based on your endorsement for student teaching. So make sure that that's all correct so you can move forward. All right, so what do you need to have before applying? Well, you need to make sure that you've taken your required coursework or that you are currently wrapping up your courses, all right? Like I mentioned earlier, you don't want to be taking additional courses while student teaching. Is it possible? Yes, of course it is, but it is a real struggle for many students. So if you know you can get overwhelmed very easily, I highly recommend that you make sure that all those required courses are taken besides classroom management and student teaching work, which are taken at the same time. The second thing is your transcripts. So having your unofficial transcripts, many times school divisions like to have those unofficial transcripts so they can see that you've completed coursework as well. And it's really easy for our office to give that to them if you have that ready for us in your application. A resume is also really handy. And this is helpful not only for us when we're trying to place you, but also, when you're seeking employment. While you're student teaching, you may get some offers, and it's really nice to have an updated resume ready for them. And then finally, the big one, and this is one that I always get questions about, which is the exam, okay? And all the exam scores that you need to have ready. And I'll get into that in a minute. All right, so here are the exams that everyone absolutely has to have, right? You must have a math competency exam, or if you're a graduate student, you maybe can, replace that with a course or an SAT score or ACT score, something like that. If you're an undergrad, you'll just, you'll take one of the Praxis, like elementary math exams, subsets, and that's easy enough. The other one is the VCLA. In this one, there's no substitute. You have to take the VCLA. And there are two parts to the VCLA, reading and writing, right? And you'll see here that this is hyperlinked and it'll take you directly to the testing website, and you can log in there and immediately get access to that. Now, there are additional exams that you are going to have to take, and these include things, the Praxis exams, and that's based on your endorsement area. So I'm going to quickly switch screens here so you can see. And by the way, that the word exam is hyperlinked, and you can have access to the document I'm about to show you. So in this document, you will see that it is based on your licensure program. So you'll look on the left column there and see where your licensure is, all right? So if you're elementary, you're gonna take, this is, standard, everyone has to take these that are in blue, all right? What's important here are these exams, okay? So you have the reading language arts exam, the science, mathematics, social science, and the Praxis teaching reading elementary test. So you have 5 tests, Praxis exams that you must take. These are the subject areas plus the teaching reading exam, okay? If you're special education, you need to take the teaching reading exam. And then if you're in secondary, you'll take your secondary level or subject area exam. So social studies, it's the social studies one, English, it's the English Praxis, math, biology, so on and so forth. All right. Any questions about this? And I will drop this link, this direct link into the chat so you can download it or copy it right into your Google Drive. All right, I'll keep moving on, but if you have any questions, I'm definitely Happy to answer them now or at the end of the presentation. So I do want to take a little bit of time to talk a little bit more about these exams because this can be a sticking point in the application process. And I want to make sure everyone's successful in the application process because if you're successful there, that means you'll do your student teaching on time. So again, all your professional exams must be completed and they all must be passed at least 1 month prior to applying. So remember those two important dates I gave you, March 15th for the fall application and September 15th for a spring application. So this is where counting backwards is going to be really helpful. So if you have a March application, you need to make sure that in a couple of weeks, about Valentine's Day, February 14th, 15th, that you take that exam, all right? You take it past that time, there's no guarantee that you're going to get your exam scores in on time for the application. That's number one. And number two, just in case you do not pass your exam that first time, you'll have an opportunity to retake it, all right? Now, let's say March 15th is around the corner and you haven't taken your exam quite yet and you know you need to apply. Please let email the ECE and let us know that you do want to apply, you are planning to apply, you are planning to take the exam, but you're cutting it close with the due date, and that's totally fine. We do have a little bit of flexibility, not a lot, but we do have a little bit. So we can work with you one-on-one to make sure that you at least start the application process so we know that you're in the pipeline and we're just waiting for those exam scores to come in. All right, makes sense? Juliana, you had a question and I just want to make sure I acknowledge that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm good. I didn't know that the exams were supposed to be done February 15th when I had that meeting with you. But I also wanted to mention if you go in Praxis and you say the exact date that you took the exam and what exam it is, they'll tell you the exact day that you'll get your results back.
Yes, yes, they do. And just to clarify, March 15th, the application is due for the fall 2024 student teaching.
Yeah, that's when I plan on student teaching.
Okay, all right, good. So let's see. You have to have your exams passed. So, again, it's really important that you take that exam early, so you make sure you have those all passed, and you need to have those scores in to your application. Again, we have a little bit of flexibility if you're cutting it close to the due date, and if it gets to a point where we can no longer wait, that may mean that your application is denied and you have to postpone your student teaching, or we decide to do something different, right? Go a different route in regards to that. But in order to student teach, you have to have those exams passed, all right? That is a Virginia regulation that we must abide by. Okay. So as I mentioned, the last day to take those exams is February 14th for a fall 2024 application and August 14th for the spring 2025 application. Okay. So those of you who are going to student teach in the spring, next year, a year from today, from the semester, you have a little bit of time. You have at least the summer to prepare and take those exams.
As long as we get our results back before March 15th, we can take the exam after February 15th, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you can get those in, but what I do recommend if it's, March 13th and you still don't have that exam, those scores in, that you shoot the ECE an email just saying, hey, I haven't gotten them in. Can I start the application process? And definitely start the application process so we know. And in the application, it's an online application, and in it, it'll actually ask you, did you take the exam? And if not, or if you're waiting for test scores, when do you expect to have them? right? So it gives you that option to tell us, to notify us, you're just waiting for the exam scores to come in, okay? But you can definitely follow up with an email, of course. So in regards to those exams, they are, they do cost money. They're not cheap. And it is, imperative that you plan ahead. Not only that you plan ahead in terms of studying for those exams, but also that you budget enough for those fees. So do check in to see how much those cost so you know what to expect. And I recommend that you take those exams as soon as possible. Try not to wait to the very last minute. Now, if that's what's happening, that's okay, no big deal. But again, you want to make sure that you are, not in a stressful situation when it comes to this application. And then finally, you can always talk to your advisor, your School of Education advisor, or you can come speak to one of us in the ECE team, and we're more than happy to talk you through this and meet with you one-on-one and plan backwards to make sure that you're all set and ready. Like I mentioned, the application is online. It is live. It's on our ECE Canvas site, which you all should have access to. And you'll go and you'll click on the student teaching box, and it'll take you to another page where you can click on the application. And you'll scroll down and there's the link right to the application. Again, the application is live for the fall 2025 student teaching experience. So you can go ahead and immediately start the application process. And you can always go back and add more documents and information as you go along. So it's not something that you have to sit down and do all at once. All right. And like always, if you have any questions or problems with the online application, please let the ECE know so we can help you out with that. And all the documents, make sure that all of your documents are prepared. We only allow PDFs or documents to be uploaded to the application. So do not put, JPEGs or anything like that, screenshots, nothing like that onto the application. It just won't even accept it. So please make sure you have one of those formats. All right. And if you don't know how to do that, you can always, again, email one of us in the ECE. All right. Now, after you apply, okay, and you've successfully put up everything, you will get an email from the ECE saying, yes, everything looks great. We have your application. We're moving it along. And so just sit tight. Now, if there is an issue with your application, maybe you're missing a document or we have a question, we need to ask you a clarifying question about your endorsement area or something like that. We will email you and ask for clarification or for additional documentation, all right? So we won't leave you hanging wondering, oh my gosh, did everything go through okay? Now, if you don't hear from us for a couple of weeks after March 15th, definitely reach out and see, where you are in the application process, all right? I hope I'm making it very clear that we're very accessible here in the Education Clinical Experience Office. Now, once we say, yes, we have your application, everything is great, it looks good, you must be patient. And this is the hardest part, is waiting for your placement, all right? Because you've worked so hard and you just want to make sure that you have a solid placement, and you want to meet your mentor teacher and the students and get to know everything you possibly can about the school. But it does take quite a bit of time for us to coordinate with our partners in the individual schools and school divisions. Now, remember, you're going to be student teaching in the fall, which is pretty awesome because you get to see the opening of a school year, which is very, very fun and very cool. But that means that a lot can happen between when you apply in March and throughout the summer. So teachers move, there are shifts in positions. And so, once things start to settle down in schools and school divisions and they know who their teachers are and what grade levels, then they start to formalize those placements. So you may not actually know where you've been placed until August. And I know that feels like a really long time waiting, but it can take that long just because of all the shifts and changes that may happen in a school division, right? But if you're still like unsure or you're just, a little anxious about it, don't hesitate to reach out just to make sure that everything's okay and we're all set up. Now I have here a picture of Dr. Macedonia. She was supposed to join me today, but she unfortunately was not able to. She's feeling a little under the weather, so we're hoping she's feeling better. But you have the EC email here. It's this. Both of us have access to that email, and we check it every day. So if you have any questions regarding student teaching, the application, any problems, do not hesitate to reach out to us in the at the EC with this email. And we do have office hours. So if you want to speak to one of us, just let us know in that email. We're more than happy to talk you through it. Okay. And I'm happy to like sit down with you and go through the application and help you put all those documents in there as well if you need any guidance. Okay. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here and answer any questions that you may have. And I'm going to drop, Juliana, the PDF of that slide deck that I have there, so you have access to it. And you can, of course, download it if you need to. All right. Anything that you want to bring up?
I have a question about how recent the exam scores need to be, like the math competency exam requirement.
Yeah.
Let's say I took the SAT in like 2016, would that
Right.
still be valid?
Totally valid. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I've had people take it, in the late 1990s, and I still accept it. So it's all good. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Anything else?
This was another one that you had brought up about recommending not to take another class on top of the classroom management and student teaching. Let's say that there's a class that I need to take. It's not offered during the spring semester or the summer semester, and it's only offered during the fall. Is it still doable? Like now I'm questioning whether or not this was a good choice or not. That's all.
It's doable. It is a challenge, and and I've had students take courses where it requires field experience, for example, right? Very doable. They basically do their field experience where they're being placed. So they during their off hours, basically where they're not teaching, they go and observe other teachers. And it's actually kind of cool because you have an opportunity to see some other, teachers in the building that you may not have an opportunity to see. So, I just say it's not recommended, but students have definitely done it and been very successful and still end up with like a 4.0, so if you're the type of student that just know you're not going to have a life during that semester. And if you're okay with that for the 14, 15 weeks of that semester, then that's totally fine. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll be busy, but we can do it. Okay.
Yeah. Juliana's there with you. She's going to be taking a course as well at the same time.
Oh yeah. I see that now.
Yeah.
We got it, Juliana.
All right.
Well, those are all my questions. If Juliana has any.
Yeah, I think I'm good for now. I just wanted to make sure that email, is it ece@marymount.edu?
You got it. That's it.
Okay. Yep, I think that's my only question for now.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate great questions. And like always, we're always here for you. So don't hesitate to reach out, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions. All right.
Thank you for hosting the information session.
Oh, anytime. Happy to do it. Love doing this. All right. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.